Hi everyone and welcome into today's video. It's going to be a quick one, but I am here live in Akron, Ohio. Ron and Isaac welcomed Chris Drugan and Mike Meaden back, and I have this wonderful lady in front of me right now with a bronze Meiji area vase that she took a picture of. This is an active appraisal fair for Creative Retirement Planning LLC, and this is, I believe, Ron, is it the second time we've done it? Is it the second?
Second that you've been
Yeah,
here,
the
yeah.
second that I've been here. And so I do appraisal fairs like this on a regular basis, at least 2 to 3 times a week. I do it for galleries, institutions, museums, libraries, anything you can think of. But she brought in this beautiful Meiji era vase, and it is bronze. And I told her about the surface that I was concerned with, and she said that it was stored outside. This style of Meiji era bronze would be circa dating right around 1890 to 1915. And I asked her if it was signed on the bottom, and unfortunately I can't see any sort of markings. The surface has been through some unfortunate circumstance. The chalkiness is definitely old polish, and unfortunately that does affect the value drastically. She said it's about, what, 9 inches tall, did you say? About 9, so it's approximately 9 inches tall. I explained to her if it had mixed metals, as in silver or gold inlay, that would definitely elevate the value of such a piece. The craftsmanship is just absolutely beautiful on that. And I've often told people you don't have to bring the items in, just bring in a clear picture. I do everything as monumentals, very large bronze statues, and also furniture. I would evaluate that one in its current condition between 200 and 300. If the condition was better and the polish wasn't on the surface, it could potentially be double that. If it had mixture of metals, gold and silver, and slightly more ornate, I would say it could be in the thousands depending on the artist that did it. Did it answer all your questions? Another satisfied customer. Well, you can sell these things on places, eBay, Etsy. There's not a lot of local antique shops anymore here, but you could go to maybe one of the larger malls. A lot of times on the weekends, they will have buying events at the antique malls, and you can most certainly take this. I would say if you expected to sell it, you might get between $100 and $200 based on what it looks like now. Yep. Thank you so much for joining us again. I appreciate it. So I'm back at the appraisal fair with Barb. And Barb, thank you so much for joining us today. I had already asked you if this was passed down in your family, and you said yes. A lot of times my intuition when I touch things, there's just a vibe and a love about them that I know and understand that they're heirlooms. So thank you so much for your smile. I appreciate it. And everyone knows on my channel that I absolutely love early Native American Indian both artifacts and jewelry. This is where I started life in my own personal collections, and I have a great affection for such early work. I've often told you to look at the gauge of the metal that these cuffs are constructed out of. Also, I've talked about the chisel opening in such work. So the early pieces have a cold chisel that is actually hammered down into here, and you will see that slightly irregular edge. This was not sawn out by a jeweler's saw. This was cold chiseled, meaning a chisel and a hammer opened that line up, and then they spread the metal apart. So that is cold chiseled in construction. Most appraisers in jewelry and general line antiques do not understand the construction of early work. It's just my slight advantage that as a silversmith trained at the University of Akron, just a few streets away, this is all chiseled, carved on the inside. That's totally Navajo, and that is a petrified wood stone. So that is in fact petrified wood or agatized wood. No fighting over terms in jewelry. Look at the construction of these early stamps as well. I've covered that. These are not necessarily commercial stamps. A lot of times the Native Americans would recycle their broken files. They would recycle their broken tools, and they would turn them into stamps. Notice how those are abstract. They're not figural animal. They're not a rain cloud. They're not a specific form. Those are very early stamped patterns on here. You might ask yourself, why does that information matter? It elevates a cuff that if it was later in production, if it was around 1940, 1950 on a cuff bracelet like this, not that thick and not that early, it would be around $400 to $500. Now today, these are revered by advanced and early jewelry collectors. This one, in its current condition, would be between $1,500 and $1,600. I know, are you surprised? I know you're very surprised. And I promise you that. And you could maybe get it as low as 850, maybe, if you had a really good day, but they're still hedging above 1,000. They really are. And these are absolutely revered and treasured works of art. I like that the oxidation is there. Please don't ever over polish it. If you want to polish it, you can, but don't ever dip it in any sort of liquid cleaner. Don't put it in a liquid. And if you just want to use a soft polishing cloth, like it looks like you have, if you dip it in cleaner, it will remove all the oxidation down in here. That will absolutely bring the value down. So please don't ever over polish these. That's just a note to everyone out there as well. Thank you so much. And then you also brought in this incredible coin pendant. And I asked you off camera, I said, is this in fact genuine from the late 1600s? And you said, yes. And your dad did order this. This is a tosha. This is silver. When did your dad buy this? Do you remember? Do you remember a year?
Had to be in the 70s.
Okay, 70s. Yeah. The only thing we don't like to see on items like this, we don't like to see a soldered on bail, and you're shaking your head. Yes, I know. So as purist collectors, we would rather see this constructed in, as a silversmith, a silver mounting with 4 prongs that is the shape of the coin, and then we would like to see a bail soldered onto that construction that holds that together. So it would be then bezel set rather than a jump ring soldered on the top. If the solder, I'm just going to tell you, if that wasn't there, I would evaluate that one at conservatively between $400 and $650. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. As it is, I still would evaluate it at several $100s. I don't think that necessarily, it makes it more wearable as jewelry. Let's just face that. Can be easily removed. But the oxidation is still beautiful. And again, out there, please don't ever over polish these, because then you start to lose. Perfect. Right, you don't polish anything. I love it. You're a purist collector just like myself, and that is a wonderful specimen. Thank you for bringing them in. I appreciate you so much. Another super exciting moment at today's appraisal fair. Lucy brought over this treasure trove in this old tin, and you know I was already fascinated by the old tin that it came in. I was already distracted. She brought in some jewelry and some watches. Immediately I knew that these were gold filled, so I wasn't too concerned about these. And then she brought in some ephemera and some early pieces, and I'm going to send her over to Mike's table to do that. However, I fished out of this tin 2 incredible items. The first is a solid 14-karat white gold gents ring. It does have a star sapphire in the center. At first I thought it was a genuine star sapphire based on the crystalline structure of the stone. It is in fact a Lindy star sapphire. So it's signed down in here with the engraved L. That is a Lindy star, so that is a man-made star sapphire. Absolutely wonderful diamonds down the shoulders. That burnished gold, a classic technique in the 1950s. This is one of the coolest gents pinky rings that's come into one of my appraisal fairs in a long time. Central stone is approximately 7 or 8 carats. I did a quick weight on this. In solid 14-karat white gold, it's 13.6 grams. So by today's gold price, it is $1,006 just in 14-karat white gold. Did you know that this was gold? Did you have any idea? No? No, you didn't?
If I did, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, so that's solid 14-karat gold, and I always want information from the people that come. So that is $1,006 just in gold as a finished ring with a star sapphire, Lindy star created with those beautiful and handsome diamonds down that very handsome ring. I would say the value on that today would be between $1,200 and $1,500, maybe slightly more on the retail market. And then the other piece that I'm still working on, most appraisers would just assume that this is gold filled. Where I'm different than most appraisers, I won't reach for my phone. I won't Google Lens or AI anything. I always look at the construction of such pieces. She said that she inherited this from a neighbor. There's a fancy monogram. As soon as I saw the engraving on this, I did not see a secondary metal, which was a strong indicator that this in fact could be solid gold. Also, solid gold rather than gold filled is very soft. Look at these dent marks across the surface. Gold is very, very soft, especially 14 karat. When I got to the clasp and I saw that natural sapphire, that is not man-created. That is a natural blue sapphire. cabochon cut and inset as the button. When you push this down, you open it up. This was a smoking compact. It is signed by the artist here. I scoured this, and you can testify for that, right? She was like tapping her foot over here going, come on, kid, hurry up. So I looked everywhere for a mark. I couldn't find any sort of indicator. This sure reads as 14 karat gold. I broke down a couple values for her, and I'm going to do further research off camera. At 71.1 grams in 14 karat gold, this is $5,261 just in gold. If it was 10 karat gold, it would be around $4,194. That's why I caution people as appraisers, slow down. Please don't make mistakes, because then I have to go back through and correct them. As gold filled, $177.75 just in being gold filled. So the values will elevate and escalate very quickly. You always have to know what materials you're dealing with. Thank you so much, Lucy, for bringing them in. This was an absolute joy to see, and I'll help you off camera with a little bit more info. So Pam is here at my jewelry table, and Pam, look at my Jack Storm sculpture. Isn't this beautiful?
It's beautiful.
I decided to really wow the crowd today by bringing in some treasures from my collection. So Pam brought in this incredible garnet and diamond ring. Pam, you were here the last time.
Yes.
I remember you. Did you have the marble lamp?
Yes.
With the marbles in it.
Yes.
Look how good my memory is.
I know.
never forget a friendly
It's
face
good.
of
And
all
also-
the hundreds and
And
hundreds and
remember the
thousands of people I
jewelry
see.
bought that
I do.
inherited with
I
the
do.
yellow, and you said it was like glass.
Yeah.
And then it was in copper.
Yes, I remember.
Yes.
I absolutely remember. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Welcome
great.
back. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us. You're welcome. So this is garnet, diamond, and I instantly said it's 14 karat gold. Then I got my loop and I said, whoops, it's 10 karat gold. But her advantage to being 10 karat gold, it's stronger in terms of wearability. You won't wear your prongs down as fast. And on the inside, it's marked KP, and that means carat plum. That does not mean plated. A lot of people, when they see the 10 karat or 14 karat with the KP, they think that's plated.
Oh,
It's
got it.
not. It's actually carat plum, meaning it was never alloyed before. It's absolutely going to always be 10 karat. Okay? Sometimes when they alloy 10 karat, it might be 9.5 karat. So yours is solid 10 karat gold. I would say value on that because the garnet is so large and beautiful, and a very classic style of a cluster cocktail ring. Wonderful marquise stone with the rounds surround it. I would say in 10 karat gold, your easy retail around $485.
All right.
Do you love it?
I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you
Think
so
I got
much.
something else.
So another absolute joy to see. An absolute period gold-filled Victorian bangle bracelet. This one is dated on the inside 1911, and I asked you who Hazel was. Yeah. So thank you so much for bringing this in, and it's inscribed there, Hazel 1911. This is gold-filled. The wonderful thing about these, and this one specifically, look how wide and robust. Not a lot of wear to the surface. Great finish. Look at that hand engraved scrolling all over this. It is missing a safety chain, not a problem.
Right.
That's a really easy fix. The one thing you always want to make sure is that these open up and let's see, yep, and that they are easy to get on and off.
Right.
And this mechanism is usually broken off. Just push the button in when you go to close this and it'll ease shut. You won't wear the mechanism out as fast. Yep, and thank you so much for bringing this in. So as a gold-filled bangle this wide, years ago, these were only selling for around $65 to $85. Now this specific size, $165 to $185.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely a surge in price. Just make sure there's no major dents on the outside.
Right.
Okay?
There's not.
Thank you so much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us.